Hi guys, DK here. Today we're looking at part 2 of this project of making Sue's new desk, and today we are going to be cutting out or creating the tool parts to cut out the pieces of timber, or at least do the cuts on the pieces of timber from the project that we were looking at, or from the file that we created in the previous video. So I've got here the outline for the 3 pieces that we need to cut. But the first thing I'm going to have to do is sort of orientate those correctly on the bed of the machine. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to go to my, first thing, we're going to rotate 90 degrees because this cut will be will be cut, or this piece will need to sit along the machine. And I'm just going to shift it to the origin. So there we go. So that is so the 3 pieces are sitting there, but the way we're going to approach the cutting operation is we actually need to cut these as slotting operations. So we're actually going to have to give ourselves a little bit of clearance for each of these, and there'll be a cut on each end. So I think firstly I'm going to shift this. Secondly, I'm going to shift this to over slightly so we've got some clearance from our starting position, and then I'm going to offset curves, and the distance I'm going to offset is 12.7 millimeters, and I'll take this and I'll offset the 12.7, and I'm going to grab these and move this to here. So what I've done is I've created a 12.7 millimeter difference between here, so we can do a single cut. And I'm going to do the same here. I'll do the offset, 12.7 millimeters, and then I'm going to do a move from here to here. And that has us done with these. Now I'm going to do another offset, and I'm going to do 6.35 millimeters on this one and this one, and I'm going to explode this curve and explode this curve, and I'll delete the bits that I do not want. And then I'm just going to extend and I'm going to extend this by another 5 millimeters. And all of these. Just a little bit more than that, 6.35. So there we go. Now we've got curves that have all been extended. Now just for the so we can see what's going on a little bit more, I'm just going to solid extrude planar curves straight. I'm going to go 40. So the rough thickness of the material that we need to cut is 40 millimeters. I'm going to grab these curves and move them down minus 40, and if we go to our shaded view, there we go. So we're going to trim the end, we're going to cut, do this slot, and then we're going to trim the end. So we've got all the geometry we need now. I'm going to launch KaroroCAM, and this will just take a minute to load up. And I'm going to go to 2D slotting operation. Tolerance is fine. Flat end mill, yep. We're going to be using a 12.7mm flat end mill. Tool number 1, 24,000 RPMs, fine. Selected curves, because we will select these curves. I am going to use multiple depth, and I'm going to go down in 3mm steps, and I am going to use ramping. But I'm going to reduce that to maybe 5 degrees, and then in my machine setup we're going to go 40mm. Alright, now if I go to my toolpath, that's all now set up. I'm going to grab these curves, and we just need to shift those to our 2D slotting layer, and KaroroCAM will generate the toolpath. So we can go to our preview and start that up. Yeah, we seem to have a little bit of an issue here. I've seen this come up with this with those extended curves. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go back to toolpath, and I've still got all of those curves selected. I'm just going to type rebuild, and I'm going to rebuild those curves, and point count of 2 and a degree of 1, so the same input, and recalculate those. And that's yeah, for some reason within our tolerance, the ends of those curves were getting a bit were not quite right. So now I've got that all sorted. We'll go back to our preview and restart, and it's now ramping in beautifully. Working its way to the bottom of that slot. Now the other thing we can do, this is, it has decided that that curve was the first one. I'm going to pause this, restart, go back to toolpath, and we created that curve from an offset. And if I type flip, we find that, so what we were starting on this curve because that was the closest starting end of the curve compared to our start point. By flipping that curve around, we go back to our preview and unpause, we're now machining this end correctly. So that's just one of the little tricks you can do to if you're seeing something that's not quite right with your KaroroCAM toolpath. But now we're definitely going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we go. I will pause that, restart. We'll go back to our toolpath. I'm very happy with how that's all looking. We can now go down, click post-process, and we're going to be using the rich auto DSP for this particular operation. I can save this G-code file, and I will call this 2503 corner desk top cutting. .cnc file. And there we have it, guys. That was the setup I went through to do the machining for this desk for Sue. The next video you'll see will be in the factory and actually doing this machining and assembling the pieces. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. Thank you very much.